So, right. So this is the total amount, 4 times 280, and this is the total amount, like this is the minimum amount, and this is the total amount she's biked. So that's why this is the correct equation. Okay. So this is the total amount she has biked, and then the 4 times 280 is the minimum amount. Okay. And all these other cases, they don't work. It's because if you just multiply it out, like x, this is completely bogus. Why would you want to multiply 280 times x? That this makes no sense. B, for one reason, is like a far out answer. And for these two, you just need to multiply by 3 to get rid of the denominators, and it'll be clear. But I think the best way to approach this question is to not eliminate and just think about what the right answer is. Do any of you have any questions about that? Or any questions from 1 through 10? Nope. Okay. Now let's go. And the vertex of the parabola, and this is which of the following equations. Oh, I don't like this. I do not. I hate graphs, but we got to deal with what we have to deal. Okay, so this A right over here, this tells how it opens. Positive means it opens upwards in this case. So you see how it opens upwards, right? Because it's positive. Over here, we see we've changed it to negative. So now it's gonna open downwards. So it doesn't open upwards, right? And in this case, the vertex is, so basically how the vertex works is this is going to be your y value of the vertex. And this is going to be your x value of the vertex. Now remember, we do not take the b, we take the negative b. Okay, so it's kind of tricky, but essentially your vertex over here is b comma c. Okay, and the reason why is that this positive c is gonna be over here, and you have to flip the sign of this b. So we see how it's negative b, we have to flip it so it becomes positive b. Okay, and then that will make your vertex b comma c. Could I repeat the vertex part? Sure. So essentially, so the y-intercept, I mean the y, what the y value is, that's pretty easy, okay? That's just this number. This number is just your y value for the vertex. And you need to flip the sign of b. That's, why do you need to flip the sign of b? Here, I could show you more of a, try to show you a graphical version. It's harder to explain with words than it is to show you a graph. So why do we flip the sign? The reason why we flip the sign is, okay, so over here we have two graphs, x squared and x. So you see I've subtracted 5, but when you come here. Now that's, so you might ask, why do we go there? The reason why is that essentially we know that the graph shifts by 5. But the best way and the easiest way to find out why this happens is just to, what do you call it? Plug in values for x. Okay, so we see that when we plug in 0 over here, we get 0, right? We see that when we plug in 5 over here, we get 0. So we see by the numbers itself that we are flipping it. And if we want to get, let's say, 1, so in order to get 1, x has to be 1 over here. In order to get 1 over here, x has to be 6, right? And that's going to be these 2 points. So you can't. I don't really know how to explain like mathematically. I'm pretty sure like there's like you could try to like expand it and then you'll get something and try to prove it. But I think the best way is just to think of it graphically, right? Think of it like a graph and just think about the points of the graph, and that will be clear. Okay. Cool. So how about let's do question 12. Which of the following is equivalent to that? So this is gonna be long division. Oh my god. So 4x squared plus 6x. 4x plus 2. So basically for long division, we want to see the biggest number here. 4x, and then we have to see 4x squared. So we want to, yes, I should use synthetic division. Problem is, I don't think, the thing with synthetic division is I don't believe that you can really do it when you have got a coefficient on your x. You'd have to divide everything by 4. So you'd be dividing by x by 1/2, then you'd use synthetic division. And I hate fractions. But yes, I should be, yes, probably synthetic division is faster with the fraction, but I don't want to deal with fractions. And I'm not too sure about my synthetic division skills. Okay, so 4x times x is x squared. 4x squared. So we get this. Remember, we had to change the signs, and whenever we're doing long division, we have to change the signs. I forgot, and we have to do minus 2x. Okay, and this is gonna give me 4x. Okay, so we see that. What do we see? Oh yeah, and then we could do plus 1. Right, so we get 4x. We had to invert the signs. Minus 4x minus 2x. I mean minus 2. So you see we get x plus 1 minus 2. That's it. Okay. So remember, this is probably a tricky point. So you have to, in order to get, only look at the highest powers, okay? Do not care about this 6x. We only care about 6x later. Care always about the highest powers. So we do 4x, we only care about 4x and 4x squared in this case. Right? 4x times what gives us 4x squared? 4x times x gives us 4x squared. So we're gonna put that down and we just change the sign. You do not need to multiply by a negative. You could just change the sign over here. It automatically changes, much like division, right? When I'm doing, let's say, 121 divided by 11, let's say. Right? I do 1 and then I put an 11, right? And you know we subtracted 11. Same way, we're going to subtract the 4x squared. Right? Then I get 4x. We do the same process again, only care about the 4x and 4x. 4x times 1 gives us 4x. And we're going to get a remainder of negative 2. Okay? And always remainders on top of a fraction. So it's basically on top of this fraction. Okay? And then this is outside on its own. So hence the answer is going to be D, x plus 1, and then you got that minus 2 on top of the fraction. Okay, anyone have questions? Just ask me, I will move on. In the equation above, t is a constant if the equation has no real solution, which of the following could be a value of t. This we have to check the discriminant. Or I think it's called the discriminant. Oh yes, it is the discriminant. I always get confused with discriminant and determinant. Two very same words, two very different concepts. Okay. I weirdly would not write this on a test. I'm just writing it for you guys so that you guys understand. Okay, now let's see. So in this case, when our discriminant, so this looks familiar. If people don't really know what the discriminant is, you guys should be knowing what the quadratic formula is, and this is in the quadratic formula. Okay, so you should remember this. B plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. That's the b squared minus 4ac. Now, this is gonna give you two solutions. Okay, this is gonna give you one solution. This is gonna give you zero solutions, real solutions. Okay, so this is gonna be two real solutions, one real solutions, zero real solutions. Okay. Over here, they're asking for no real solutions. So we have to take into this. We have to care about this. So, and let's actually move everything to one side. So 2x squared minus 4x minus t equals 0. So we plug that in. What's there be? Negative 4 squared is 16. Minus 4 times a is 2 times negative t. So that's gonna be what? 16 plus 8t. That's what I'm getting. So we need to have t to be a number so that it's less than 0, right? We just plug in the answer choices. Obviously, we don't want a positive number because positive number will give us a positive number, right? So we don't want a positive number. And if you see here, negative 1 won't work because if I plug in negative 1, I'm going to get square root of 8. That's a positive. Negative 3 works because I'm going to get negative 8 in the square root, which we do not want. And that's going to give us our answer. That's going to give us no solution, and thus our answer is going to be A. Okie dokie. For question 12, you can also substitute x with its smallest value. Let's see. Yeah, you could use substitution, yeah. Exactly. Because this is a simplification problem. So if I used 1, 4, 10, 10. Yeah, you could. That's probably a faster way, actually. You could use. Oh, why is 13a again? Okay, so we want to end. Okay, there's a lot of questions. I will first go with 12 since it's in order. Then I'll go with 13. So can you explain to do it that way? Sure. Let's just make x equal to 1. Okay, it doesn't really matter which value. 1 is just a simple value. Actually, we could make it 0. X equals 0. Let's make x equals to 0. Just remember, as long as your denominator is not 0, you're safe. Okay. And by making x equal to 0, our denominator isn't 0. Plug in 0, we get this equals to 0. Actually, that doesn't work. Never mind. Let's try 1. Because this also becomes 0. You can only eliminate like 2 answers. Okay. So we plug in 1. Now I plug in 1 into this. We get 4 plus 6 all divided by 4 plus 2 equals to 10 divided by 6 equals to 5 by 3. Plug in 1 here. That doesn't give me 5 by 3. That doesn't give me 5 by 3. 1 over here, I get 1 minus 2 over 4 plus 2. So that's just basically 1 minus a third, because this is 2 by 6, which is a third, which equals to 2/3. That isn't it. And oh god, that was the worst mark out I've ever seen. Okay, and then now finally we do 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 minus 2 divided by 6. So 2 minus a third is, lo and behold, 5/3. Why is x negative 1? I just picked x negative 1. I do not want to. You could pick any number you want. Okay, what? So you guys are. Looks like you guys got a bit confused. Where did I lose you guys? So confused. Okay, I lost you guys somewhere. Let me try again. So x equals to 1, okay? This I didn't say like, oh, I didn't like use my brain and think ahead of time. I'm like, oh, I should make x equal 1. No. X equals 1 because I want it to be 1. You could literally pick any number you want. You could pick 2, you could pick 10, you could pick 500. It doesn't matter. I picked 1 because it's easy. Right? And this is a no calculator section. So I want to make things faster. So now I'm just gonna plug it in. Because remember, which of the following is equal to, equivalent, right? If I plug in 1 over here and get a number, which we all saw was 5/3, right? If I plug in 1 and now I get 5/3, our answer should also equal 5/3, right? These answers should be 5/3 in order to be equal to that fraction. So if I plug in 1 over here, this is not equal to 5/3 if I plug in 1. When x equals to 1, I do not get 5/3. Neither do I get 5/3 from here. Over here, I get 2/3, which is also incorrect. And over here, I get 5/3. Okay, and we see that there's a 5/3 here and 5/3 here. So because these two are equal, this equation must be the same as this equation. Okay, did you get that? Yeah, okay. 13. Okay, equate the graph to use a constant. Okay. So first, I want to make it like a normal, like quadratic equation, right? Have everything equal to 0. Okay. Now, I talked about the discriminant, right? So because they want no real solutions, we have to ensure that our discriminant is less than 0. Basically, you don't even need the square root, to be honest, because the square root doesn't really matter. And you see, we want this to be less than 0. Okay? And if this is less than 0, then we're gonna get no real solution. So let's plug it in. B is -4. B squared is 16. Minus 4 times A is 2. And C is -t. 16, we get 16 plus 8t. Now only one answer over here actually makes this less than 0. Right? And that's going to be, so we know it can't be a positive number. If I plug in a positive number, it's obviously going to be positive. So these two are out. If I plug in -1, I get 16 minus 8, which is 8. 8 is still a positive number. Plug in -3, I get 16 minus 24, which is -8. And that gives me a negative number. Where did the 16 come from? B squared. Because it's -4 is my B. This is B. So B squared is going to be 16. -4 times -4 is positive 16. Did you get that? Yeah? Okay. Okay. A laundry service is buying detergent and fabric softener from its supplier. The supplier will deliver no more than 300 pounds per shipment. Okay, so this looks like an equation problem. Each detergent weighs that much. Fabric softener weighs that much. The service wants to buy at least twice as many containers of detergent as that. So that's DB detergent SP. So okay, we want no more than 300 pounds. Okay, so we know one detergent weighs 7.35 pounds. Let's multiply that by D. So this is the total amount of pounds all the detergents weigh. Let's do the same thing with the fabric softeners, right? And this is the total amount of pounds as fabric softener weighs. This can be no more. So this has to be less than or equal to 300. That eliminates this one, eliminates this one. We're left with 2 answer choices. Okay. Now we have to see the other statement that they have. The service wants to buy at least twice as many containers of detergents. So as fabric softener. What that means is if they have 10 fabric softeners, they want to buy 20 detergent. 10s, they want to buy 20 detergents. Okay, so we have to realize that D in this case has to be at least, because they said at least. Okay, so that's at least 2s, right? So 2 times the amount of fabric softener they want to buy detergent. So that's going to make our answer A. Okay, so we're nearly at our next checkpoint, 15. Which of the following equals to that? We have to expand it. A squared. Okay, here's the thing. Usually you should memorize. This should be memorized. It's in order to make your life go faster. Else, you're gonna do it every single time, and you'll be extremely slow at these problems. Memorize this template. Okay, it's not too bad to memorize, especially if you've done it a lot. Memorize this template. So a squared. When we expand this, we get a squared. Plus, so we have to multiply a times b divided by 2. Multiply that by 2, we get ab plus b squared by 4, giving us d. Okay. Okay, checkpoint. We are at a checkpoint. Any questions from questions 1 through 15? Do you guys have any questions? No. While you guys are typing, if you have any questions, I'm gonna put some templates you have to memorize, or you should memorize. Anyone else for questions? Okay. So these you want to know at the back of your hand. These 3. These 3 you should know like at the back of your hand. Okay, here. Okay, last part. So you understand? Do you understand this part then? How we got that part? What do you mean by last part? You want to know about this part, or? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the service wants to buy at least twice as many containers of detergent as containers of fabric softener. Okay. So let's say they had 10 fabric softeners. They want to buy at least 20 detergent, correct? Because they want to buy twice as many detergent as fabric softener. So you have 10 fabric softener, they want to buy 20 detergent. Okay, did you get that? Yeah, all right. Now you want to plug this into your equation, into each one to see if it withholds, if it's true. 10 times 2 is 20. So this shows that 20 is greater than or equal to 20. This is correct. Plug it in this equation. 20 times this gives you 40. Wait. That is technically a true statement. Never mind. Don't do that way. Okay, so actually here. Just think about it this way. This is a better way. If you have 2 times, you just need 2 times this. So D equals to 2S, right? Let's say that's the minimum. So that's twice as many fabric softeners equals 1 detergent. Now you just put a greater than equal to, because that's at least, to fulfill the at least. But this basically says that it's at least 2S, right? So it's at least, so if you have 10, it's at least 20. Okay. Any other questions from 1 through 15? We're on our last stretch, but no calculator. Last 5 problems. Then we will end. Okay. Here we go. Last 5 problems. So, hold on. They're so close to the finish line. Okay. If a raised to b divided by 4 equals 16 for positive integers, what's one possible value for b? Just note you cannot put negative answers on your Scantron. This thing. And here's 16. What's one possible value of b? So what we could do is basically we could actually, so they're actually being nice. When they say what's one possible value, you could make a any number you want. Okay. So I could make a, let's say 2. 2b to the 4 equals 16. Now 16, if you guys remember your powers, is the same thing as 2 raised to 4. So one value of b, if you see here, so now we could just drop the powers. And we get b divided by 4 equals 4. Yes. So one value of b can be 16. Another value of b, let's say a was 4. Look, remember, I am making sure that 4 raised to something equals 16. I don't want like 3. If I make 3, that's going to be really hard. That's going to be a real pain. So b divided by 4 equals to 16. 16, if you guys remember, is just 4 squared. Which it makes b equals to 8. It can be 1. It can be a lot of things, I'd say. Yeah. Because then you could also make it 16, which will make it 4. Just, I could go on and on and on. It could be like basically anything. Essentially. I mean, not basically anything. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 16. Now, you guys could look at those combinations on your own time, but this question asks me one answer, doesn't ask me every single, it asks me one possible value, so I'm just going to say, let's say 16. Okay. What is the what value of t is the solution to the equation above? Okay. Just cross multiply. So we want to isolate t. This shouldn't be too bad. T equals to 15 divided by 4. Okay. What I did was cross multiply. I did 3 multiplied by 5 gives me 15. 2 multiplied by 2 gives me 4. So that is my answer. Next, in the figure above, BD is parallel to BD parallel to AE. So that already makes me think similar triangles. And what is the length of CE? Okay, this definitely makes me think similar triangles. There are actually 2 ways to solve this. If you are very good at you will instantly get the answer. Why? Because you know Pythagorean triples, right? So if you know your Pythagorean triples, you are easily set for this question. This is a right angle, so 6, 8, 10. Now 6 times 3 is 18. So we know each side has a factor of 3. So 6 times 3 will give you 18. So 10 times 3 has to give you 30. Okay. Now, for those who don't know Pythagorean triples, they're basically sides for right triangles. And here's some things you should know. So here's some important ones you should know. Actually, there are really 3 important ones. These are the 3, and remember, multiples of these. So if you multiply them by any number, that is also counted as a triple. So 6, 10. Actually, I just completely messed up multiplication. 6, 8, 10. 7. I always mess up the last one. I know for a fact that I've messed it up, but I don't know. I messed this up too. But yeah, the 7 always gets to me. I know it's at the 20s. Keep on messing up 7, 21, 20. Okay, who cares? It's anyway, it's gonna be multiples. Multiples also count. Like this, or 18, 24, 30. So if you know these, you can make your life a lot easier, a lot quicker. We solve this in a few seconds. So I should have that up for people who want it. There we go. So you guys could take a look at that. Other way to solve it is the just use Pythagorean theorem. Slower way, but works. You will find eventually that thing. And also, I did a big mistake here. I didn't really check for if it was similar triangles or not. But if you want, for those who want, like, oh, I want to know if it's a similar triangle. This is a 90-degree. So this angle is shared by both triangles. So we know that both triangles have two same angles, and through a similarity, they're two same triangles. CE does not equal 40. It should equal 30. Because even though this is 10, remember the length of CE, because remember CD is similar to CE. Okay. It's not that, because remember the triangle that we're dealing with is triangle CEA, right? So when I do 10 times 3, it should be CE. Okay. I want to blitz through this since we have a few minutes. Okay, how many liters of 25% saline solution should be added to 3 liters of a 10 saline solution to obtain 15% saline solution? Remember, like I said at the start of this very starting of the workshop, use decimals when you're multiplying for percentages. How many liters? Let's say liters is X. Okay. So 0.25 times X plus 3 liters of a 10% solution. So we have 10%. And you got to multiply that by 3. And that equals to 0.15 times 3 plus X. This is the total, right? So we want to obtain a 15% solution, and that's the total after with the 3 liters and the X. We're trying to solve for X. Quickly multiply this, we get 0.25x plus 0.3 equal to 0.45 plus 0.15x. Isolate variables, we get 0.1x equals to 0.15, or x equals to 1.5 liters, and that's our answer. And last question. Point AB lie on the circle with radius 1. Arc AB has length of pi over 3. What fraction of the circumference of the circle? Let's draw a quick circle. We've got a radius 1. Arc AB has a length of pi over 3. And what's the circumference? What fraction of the circumference is the? So remember, if you have a length 1, if you use 2 pi r, the whole circumference is 2 pi. You just want to do pi over 6. Remember, the partial divided by the whole. The 2 pi equals 2 pi over 6 multiplied by 1 over 2 pi. We had to reciprocate. And that's going to give our answer of 1 by 12. Woohoo, that's going to be our answer. Okay, we are at the end of all the non-calculated questions. Did anyone have any questions of all the things we have done? Were there any questions? How do you divide decimals? I'd say multiply them. Okay.